range, maybe a little bit faster, that is, really going to be something for somebody to go after.
That's a 46.81 yesterday, so nice pickup by that team.
We're definitely seeing 2-3 tenths from
about 3 tenths.
everybody.
Yeah, it looks like about 3.
Now remember, qualifying this year under a new format, no more group qualifying and no more fastest of 2 laps. You leave pit road, when you come around, you get the green, and you have 1 lap to get the job done. The fastest 12 cars in this round will transfer to round 2 and run for the Daytona 500 front row. Here's Kyle Larson from Elk Grove, California, driving the Target Chevrolet. He'll start his 3rd Daytona 500 next Sunday.
Mike, it takes so much science, so much work by the engineers to get a car to go around all the way around this bank racetrack, sitting flat. That nose, the car, the nose, and the splitter never changes. It stays the same off the racetrack all the way around.
46.64 is second fastest. That's about 2 tenths behind the speed of Eric Almirola's Ford. Let's go trackside.
Martin Truex Jr. on pole for the Daytona 500 back in 2009. But what do you focus on most, Martin, with this unique qualifying format here at Daytona?
Yeah, really, it's just about not making mistakes, hitting your shift points right and all that, just to get up to speed because you only have 1 lap. So, got a few practice runs on it yesterday, and hopefully we'll be able to back all that out.
Thank you, Matt. Jamie McMurray, the Daytona 500 winner in 2010. He's in the McDonald's Cessna Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing.
And now as we start to get more and more cars making lap times, you'll see a yellow line there in your screen, and that's what these guys are all trying to accomplish. How do we get in the top 12 to have a second shot at that second running and get out there and have a shot to pull for the Daytona 500?
Because for round 2, all of these round 1 times are thrown out. You can't carry your first round time over to round 2. You've got to go and run again. Good run for McMurray, 46.53. He pretty much splits the difference between Almirola and Larson on the lap time chart.
Again, that's about 3 tenths over his lap yesterday, 46.85 yesterday. So nice pickup, like what we've been seeing.
Danica Patrick back at Daytona with the same team, same number, and a new sponsor, Nature's Bakery, on her Chevrolet for Stewart Haas Racing.
Yep, won the pole down here, a couple of years ago in her car, and was running really well in practice. Had some good average lap speeds.
One of the things you'll see during qualifying, a little bit different line that the drivers run versus in a race when they're drafting. And basically, these cars get up to speed fairly quickly. They're probably up to speed by the time they come off the turn 4 before they take the green. They're right about the start-finish line. And they just basically want to run the shortest line they can possibly run around this racetrack, right next to that yellow line, all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to turn the wheel as little as possible. The more you have to crank on that wheel, the more you're binding the car, the more it's slowing down. So almost like the car to go through the corner without having to turn the wheel very much at all.
So there's Patrick, the 20th driver to qualify, 46.80 is 9th fastest. Chris Neville.
Eric Almirola's 25th in practice yesterday, and Eric, you told me you were looking for a little bit more speed in your car. You obviously found some. Did you find enough?
I don't think that's nearly enough, but still a good run for us. Trent Owens and the guys must have had some sort of tricks up their sleeves or something. It was about half a second faster than we were yesterday. And like I said yesterday, I didn't really understand where we stacked up because so many people were running 2 and 3 and 4 laps, and I could not understand why. Because all we get to do today is run 1 lap, and that's really what we focused on yesterday. So proud of everybody on this Smithfield Ford Fusion team. Regardless of where we end up, we'll go race Thursday and get ready for the Great American Race. Thanks, Eric.
On track, Denny Hamlin of the FedEx Express Toyota, winner of last night's Demolition Derby, the Sprint Unlimited here on the Speedway, in which 25 cars started and only 2 finished the race without damage. Hamlin not being one of those, but he went to victory lane.
No, he's delivering the goods right now, buddy. He's coming to the line looking good.
Fastest is Denny Hamlin, and he is 2 tenths faster than Almirola, 46.26. Coming up, Paul Menard, Brian Vickers, Ty Dillon, and Trevor May, who won 2 of the 4 restrictor plate races in 2015, the Daytona 500 and the fall race at Talladega. Now, we have a string here that has gone on for 13 years. That's how long it's been since we had a repeat pole sitter in the Daytona 500. 13 different drivers in 13 years.
Well, I was going to say, How about car numbers? Can you consider car numbers being a repeat? That 24 car was on the pole last year. I really think it's going to be very difficult to beat Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 team for this pole today. But I do think that right here, Joey Logano, I don't think he's going to win the pole or be in the front row. I do think he's going to be a big factor in the Daytona 500 next week.
Logano's Shell Petrol Ford made it into the final round by 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, well, he was the last car on the racetrack when qualifying ended in the first round. First car on the racetrack this time. That could be an advantage. I mean, everything's nice and hot in that race car right now. The engine's cool, and all the other components are nice and hot. Might help him a little bit.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, did they get the water temperature cool enough? And it's nice to have all those other things nice and warm, but it's not, you definitely want to have enough time to cool down all the water in the engine.
Logano is one of 3 Fords in the final round. There are 4 Toyotas and 5 Chevrolets among the cars that will earn a front row position, and that's all that's set today. The rest of qualifying determines the lineup for the Thursday Can-Am Duel at Daytona that you will see live on Fox Sports 1 Thursday.
Here he comes.
I'm just really anxious to see some lap times here.
Here we go. Let's see what we got.
Final run. Yippee! Sometimes we see it pick up.
46-33. Yeah. 46-28 to a 46-33 in round 1. So that's a half of a tenth pickup.
See what happens.
And you really don't know at this point. I mean, that obviously is a good lap. How will everybody else respond?
Well, and as a team, that's what you're looking for. You want to at least back it up or go a little bit faster than what you did in round 1. You've done your job. But once you roll through inspection and that car goes out there, even in round 1, you've done just about all that you can do. And so what you're looking for in round 2 is to at least back that up. You don't want to see your car slow down.
Yeah, I think you just, in your mind, you run that lap that you just did, you run it over again and think, is there anything I can do as a driver? Can I get out on the racetrack record? Can I get through the gears better? Can I run a little bit different line to try to pick up a little bit of speed?
And even though these cars practiced yesterday, they practiced similar type things of what we're seeing now. These are under the actual conditions. So that first round was a nice little practice session for every one of these drivers to go through the motions of getting up to speed, getting off pit road, going up through the gears, hitting their marks, hitting their RPM to get the maximum amount of speed out of the cars.
And remember something, Jeff, yesterday, the second time out, the cars were always faster. I mean, they would go in and work on them and come back and always faster.
Yeah, I've always seen that happen, and then you start to question how legit are those times because of some of those things. And there's a lot of other cars on the track.
Kurt Busch in the Haas Automation Monster Energy Chevrolet, a 3-time Daytona 500 runner-up, and that's the most by an active driver who has not yet won a Daytona 500.
I don't think I've seen anybody follow that yellow line as tight as what we just saw Kurt Busch did. He's very detailed in his driving. He definitely did everything he could as a driver, and now we're going to see where he ends up.
Now he picks up 6 100ths to Logano's 4, 46-27.
Well, it's better than the last guy that went out. Yeah. We just have so many good cars left to go, and I really do believe each one of these cars is going to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, I just feel like the yellow line is your best friend. If you're looking for protection or you want to keep getting past on the inside, just ride that yellow line. And it's the shortest way around the racetrack for qualifying.
I'll throw one other little thing in there. You definitely want to play the wind. So when you have a headwind going into turn 1, as you turn into turn 1, you're going to have a little bit of a headwind because it's coming from the back straightaway. And so you might want to keep it a little lower there. As you get up to turn 4, now that wind almost becomes a tailwind, and you want to use that to your advantage to get as much of that tailwind to give you a nice shot and straight run off of 4 and give you a little bit more momentum if possible.
Now, Carl Edwards of the Aris Daytona is a former pole sitter for the 500.
She's beautiful.
You see the red line there, that's first and second. Those are the 2 positions that we will decide today. And Edwards is fastest. He picks up 2.5 hundredths to a 46-23.
So not as much pickup as some of the other cars and drivers that went before this, but still better than the 2 that have gone.
And again, we're going in inverse order of the top dozen, slowest to fastest in round 1 for this final round. Denny Hamlin has 23 career poles. His best start in the 500 is 4th.
In theory, They should get faster as they go.
Yes.
In theory. Probably not a lot, but it should. Every car that goes out should be a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to those crew chiefs, and we talked about drivers and the little bit of things that they can do with their line. It could have a little bit to do with guessing the win as well. I see the flags kind of pick up right now as Denny Hamlin heads into turn 3. All those things can have a small factor. We saw where he didn't really pick up down the back straightaway, and he's tracking his third right now. It could have just been that win.
It is. If you look at the flag, Jeff, it's starting to turn a little bit down the back straightaway, which would hurt your speed. As you go down the back, help you in the front. Down the back, not so much.
Denny Hamlin runs right on top of his round 1 speed at 46.267.
And
Into a 2.66.
These teams actually have a lot of software that they'll go back and look at after the qualifying session, and will show them exactly when the wind gusted and where they were at on the track, and will tell them if that was a factor in their lap.
So Ryan Blaney, one of the rookie contenders for 2016, driving for the storied Wood Brothers, and there's been a lot of discussion on social media about why the Wood Brothers did not receive one of the 36 charters issued to full-time teams. And we learned in a meeting today, back in July, the cutoff was decided of the look-back period for when a team ran full-time, and it was the start of the 2013 season to the middle of the 2015 season. That's when the 36 charter teams were determined, and the Wood Brothers had not been full-time. So as of then, they knew they would not receive one of those charters.
Look at this thing coming to the line, and again, I think it might be the win factor.
46.21, that's a pickup of 4 100ths. And the rookie, Ryan Blaney, is fast.
Look at the times, like we said, to get a little 21, a 23, a 26, a 27, and a 28.
And that's just a great boost for that team and for Ryan Blaney coming into 2016. We know it's going to be an amazing rookie battle this year between him and Chase Elliott, but at the same time, they want to get off to a really positive start, and that's a great way to do that.
Jimmy Johnson is one of 4 drivers who can break that 13-year string that goes back to Johnson's first pole in 2002. He also won it in 2008, so he's the last repeater among active drivers on the pole winner list. And look where that tracker is, all the way to the left.
And we were had a little in-car shot there of Jimmy's hands, and he is absolutely trying to not move his hands, not turn that wheel any more than he has to. Kind of let that car have its head smooth, don't juke on the wheel, come to the line, right on the bottom, bam.
Fastest at a 46.19. That's a pickup of 2 100ths of a second.
19, 21, 23, 26, 27, 28.
Jamie?
And Carl is one of the, well, every driver has picked up since the first round. Carl, are the conditions a little bit different, or is it something you guys learned that you changed the second time?
I don't know. You know, the wind is such a big factor, and the sun, and how much you hit your splitter, and all that stuff. But our Harris Toyota is good, and Dave and I are having a good time. Glad I beat Denny at something this weekend so far. No, we're just having a good time, and now we'll go race in the qualifiers, and hopefully get this thing tuned in. You know, after last night, I'm real excited about racing the 500. I learned a lot, and just having a good time.
So Carl Edwards third right now.
Talking about the Sprint Unlimited last night, which was won by Hamlin. Here's Austin Dillon. 4 times, car number 3 has started the Daytona 500 from position 1. It was a Ray Fox Chevrolet driven by Buddy Baker, and then the RCR Richard Childress Chevys. Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, and Austin Dillon have won 500 poles. Not today, though. Austin Dillon is third, 46.23. That's the first car to fall off from his round 1 time. 3 100ths of a second is the difference.
Yeah, you know, every team does it just a little bit different, or has a way of going about cooling the car down, maintaining those temperatures. It could be winning wind versus in the first round versus the final round. So many factors. It could be the wind, a lot of things. And as I mentioned earlier, as the afternoon goes on, that wind seems to kick up a little bit more and get some gusts. And we're seeing little bursts of gusts as some of these cars go down the back straightaway. That will definitely affect their time.
What I'm seeing, Jeff, is it was a crosswind, and now it truly is a headwind down the back straightaway. I think we'll see that on our tracker. The cars aren't picking up down the back like they did earlier. Maybe they're picking up a little bit more heading down into turn 1, but definitely got a headwind.
Ricky Stenhouse for Roush Fenway Racing. Crew Chief Nick Sandler He has one career pole, looking for his first Sprint Cup win. Right now, Ford has the outside front row with Ryan Blaney. Stenhouse's fastest, 46.12. He picked up 6.5 hundredths.
That's a nice job right there. 195.12 miles an hour, 46.12. Nice run.
I mean, that to me is that's your goal right there. You want to pick up 6 or 7 hundredths from that first round to this final round, and they did exactly that. Fantastic job. That's going to pay off.
Only the front row locks in today, and right now it's a Ford Chevy front row with Ricky Stenhouse and Jimmy Johnson. The man on track trying to change that in the M&M's Toyota is Kyle Busch. He has one pole on a restrictor plate track, that is Daytona or Talladega, Alabama, and it came here in July of 2013.
Losing a little bit as they get into turn 3, as we're seeing with some of these cars.
As we're watching the 18 coming to the flag, I watched your man, Casey Elliott, take off out of the pits, and I swear he could have made some better time. He stayed on the bottom too long. Looked like he should have jumped out there and got up next to the wall immediately.
See if Jimmy Johnson can hold on to that front row spot. No, Kyle Busch takes it away. 46.10, a pickup of 2 100ths, and it's now a Toyota Ford front row.
I know Chase said he felt like he didn't leave the pits well. I just was watching him because of that, what he said, and he took too long to get out next to the wall. I think he could have hopped out there a little quicker. Might have made a bit of a difference.
So here's the Napa Chevrolet, the number 24 from Chase Elliott of Dawsonville, Georgia. Now the 24 doesn't have quite the history of the number 3 at Daytona, but it started on pole twice, both with Jeff Gordon at the wheel.
And these next 3 cars, Chase Elliott, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., to me, these are the cars that are really battling for this front row and for that pole position. We see Chase with a really nice pickup. This is the best pickup I've seen so far. Maybe that wide lane doesn't mean as much as we think it does.
I watched him. I thought, I think he could have helped him a little bit there, but if he'd have done that, that's what everybody else.
I didn't even think he ran as high in 3 and 4 as I thought maybe he could have. Wow, this
Let's
is
pick it up.
Yeah, it's
And the Sprint Cup rookie, the 2014 Xfinity Series champion and runner-up last year, goes to the top, 45.84.
Wow, that's the fastest lap yet.
Good lap, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
See where it shakes up. Was a nice pickup there.
Nice pickup.
I say
That was nearly.
84, so.
That's Alan Gustafson talking to Chase, his crew chief. That was almost 0.2 of a second faster.
Okay, I figured it out. Everybody else was doing it wrong.
you got to give a lot of credit to Alan and all the guys at Hendrick Motorsports in that 2014. They really know how to qualify here for Daytona.
But we're not done. The 2 fastest round 1 drivers have yet to go. Right now, it's a Chevy Toyota front row. Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch. As Busch's teammate, Cambridge, Wisconsin's Matt Kenseth,
and he's close. He's extremely close. That was a huge pickup. We didn't think anybody was going to pick up that much, but here's Matt Kenseth right there.
He's breathing down his neck, but I don't think he's going to get there.
Kenseth has
if he can push, a little push off of 4 here.
No, he lost a little bit.
second for Kenseth. Busch's teammate off the front row, 45.91. And that is not quite a 1/10 of a second faster than his first run, but both of these 2 drivers at the top have really picked up from round 1. So, Chevy Toyota on the front row, Elliott and Kenseth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has one restrictor plate pole here. It was the 2011 Daytona 500. He's out to change all that.
Looks like
down a little bit.
Looks like it's going to be, well, he's not there yet, but, he said it's going to be a Hendrick front row, and we'll see if he's right or not. I think he's pretty good.
There's something dragging out there. It sounded like something was dragging through the corner.
Yeah, we saw that in the first round.
It
seems like they really get the back of that car. Maybe they have their skirts a little bit lower. They definitely wanted to scrape. Maybe they're going a little faster than they anticipated too. We'll probably hear it down here in 3 and 4 as well. But right now, it looks like Matt Kenseth is going to be the upset to Hendrick Motorsports' front row.
Yeah, he's not gaining on it. Just never quite got there.
Checkered flag. Third for Earnhardt, 45.99. He is 2 100 slower than the first round.
Another
for
rookie wins the
2016,
pole.
the youngest driver ever to start on the pole for the Daytona 500 is Chase Elliott.
Piece of cake.
He becomes the 6th Sunoco Rookie of the Year contender in history to win the pole for the Great American Race. 2016 Daytona 500 rookie Chase Elliott, Matt Kenseth on the front row, Chevrolet versus Toyota at the front of the field. Chase Elliott is the youngest ever pole sitter for the Daytona 500. Your dad won the pole 4 times. Jeff Gordon won it twice in the 24. No pressure, right?
Oh man, this is a very, very cool day. I don't know that this opportunity is sunk in yet, much less sitting on the pole for the Daytona 500. So this is very, very cool. You know, I think the big thing is just the team, and you know, Daytona 500 qualifying is about the team guys and the effort they put into these cars, and it's nothing special I did. It's really just what kind of work they did this offseason to make it happen. So Jeff knows all about that, and just want to give a big thanks to Napa Auto Parts and all of our partners at HMS on this 24 cars. It's very, very special and a great way to start the season.
Hey Chase, this is Jeff. Welcome to the 2016 Sprint Cup Series and the Daytona 500. Wow, what an incredible way to get it all started. I know you're going to give a lot of credit to that team for today, but from here on out, the driver's going to play a huge role. How do you get prepared to take this momentum into the duels on Thursday, into the Daytona 500? How do you become the youngest Daytona 500 winner in history?
Well, I think you know how special this group of guys is, and they're do such a good job at all their jobs, and I'm very, very fortunate to have the kind of group we do. But yeah, I think from here, I think I started last night paying attention to that Sprint Unlimited, kind of watching to see what went on there, try to learn a couple things. I was able to watch from the spotter stand, so I think that was a good thing. I had a chance to go do and just kind of watch from up there and kind of get an idea of what Eddie's going to be looking at when he's making calls over the radio. So I think from here, just trying to understand the draft a little bit more. The duels, I think, will be a big eye-opener for me to try to learn this Cup side a little bit on the drafting, and hopefully we can go from there.
Hey, Chase, this DW, listen, you got to take it easy down there. It was hard for me to hold this guy down. I don't know who was more nervous, you or him. He said you were going to win the pole, and after that first go-round, he was getting a little nervous. But you came through for him. Great job by you and the team. And I know you're looking forward to the Daytona 500. What a great honor to start with a pole.
It is, Daryl, and I'm just so thankful for this opportunity. You know, opportunities like this don't come twice, and I certainly want to make the most of this one. This is very, very special, very, very cool way to start our 2016 season with HMS and the 24 car. And like I said, just very honored and blessed to be with the group of guys that we have. I think it's a special group. Alan and this entire team did such a good job on this car over this offseason, and we sure would like to have it to race on Sunday. It's awfully fast, so hopefully we can get through those duels and be smart.
Thank you, Chase. That's one of 2 spots locked in today. Hendrick Motorsports wins the pole. Matt Yoakum is with the outside front row starter for the 500.
For the first time in his racing career, he's on the front row for the Daytona 500. But your biggest issue is trying to chase down and lock in your 3rd Daytona 500. This certainly starts the week out on a great note.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a team effort, not really a driver thing. So, although it is the first time I've been nervous qualifying Daytona, I'm like, don't mess up that lap. You want to be on the front row. So, just big thanks to everybody at JGR. The air department obviously is a huge part of this. Patrick and all those guys do a great job. Everybody at Toyota and TRD making these Camrys so fast, and Dollar General and DeWalt. We had a great race team. It's yesterday didn't turn out how we wanted to, but we had a lot of speed in all our Toyotas. So, really looking forward to Sunday.
Thanks, Matt. Mike?
Chase Elliott will celebrate the Daytona 500 pole. His crew chief, Alan Gustafson, has now won the 500 pole with 3 different drivers.
Good. Yeah. Wow.